Hello, my name is Don Harkey from Galt Consulting, and you're watching a Passion is Productive mini training session. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about motivation. Motivation is one of the least understood concepts of leadership. Oftentimes you'll hear leaders talk about how do I motivate my employees? And that's just simply the wrong question. Actually, people come self-motivated. Motivation actually comes from within, not from outside. You can't motivate someone. The good news, though, is you can create an environment where that person's self-motivation comes out. And that's what I want to show you how to do in these next few minutes. Motivation comes from an environment that's set up with three different components: competence, autonomy, and relatedness. These actually spell the acronym CAR if you're trying to remember them. Let's talk about the first one, competence. Competence can be broken down into three subcategories. First of all, strengths or talent. I am a huge college football fan. As a graduate of the University of Nebraska, and no, I didn't play football, I have grown up a football fan my entire life. When my son Jeffrey was born, I can't help but have that father fantasy of watching my son play for the Nebraska Cornhuskers someday and maybe even winning that Heisman Trophy given to the top college football player of the year. One year for Halloween, my son decided to go as a Nebraska Cornhusker, and I was so excited. In fact, I was so excited that I asked him to strike this Heisman Trophy pose for a picture, as Desmond Howard here from Michigan was doing. Here was the result. Yes, not exactly the kind of pose that I had in mind. You know, oftentimes for our employees, we try to put them in positions that maybe they're just not quite ready for, or maybe their strengths just don't align with. I like the phrase, if you hug a porcupine, do you blame the porcupine? Don't put a porcupine in the position of being a hugger. Just like your employees, put them in the right position that aligns with their strengths. Another component of competence is knowledge. Knowledge comes from experience. Knowledge comes from the things that you learn in the classroom and on the job. Knowledge is something that cannot be replaced. A person may be hardwired perfectly for a job, but if they don't have the knowledge to execute the job, they can't do it. Knowledge is something that most employers understand pretty well, and that's what they actually look for when they go to hire people. The last component is confidence. I always like the quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. That's very true. Your employees may be hardwired to do the job successfully and have the knowledge to do so, but won't be successful because they don't think they have the knowledge. The second component of motivation is autonomy. Autonomy is a tricky component, and it's best illustrated in one of my favorite stories. A friend of mine in Springfield owns a coffee shop. She started the coffee shop in December of 2008, right before the huge economic crash, actually in the same month of the huge economic crash. I was meeting there with with a client or associate there one day, and I was introducing him to Deb, the owner, and he asked her a question. He said, "When did you start this shop?" And she said, "Well, December." And he looked at her and said, "Was that a good idea?" I was shocked. Several other coffee shops had closed down on the street, on the same street that she was at, and I was horrified that he'd asked her that question, but she had a great answer. She looked at him with a look of determination in her eye, and she pointed her finger at him and she said, "Yes, and I'll give you two reasons. Number one, because it's mine. Number two, try the carrot cake." Here's Deb here cutting her famous carrot cake. Deb has a huge amount of passion for her business, and it's hers. That is so powerful. Give your employees a chance to own something. Make it something that's theirs. Bringing directives down from the mountain on the tablets and forcing them to do it is not utilizing their skills, and it's not very good for motivation. The last component is relatedness. We as human beings like to feel related to each other. We like to have a clarity of purpose. Give your employees something bigger to be looking forward towards. Let them know what it is that they're doing. Let them know what they're working towards. Motivation. If your employees are smart enough, good enough to do the things that they want to do, they're empowered to do it, and they're working towards a common vision, you'll find that your employees are highly motivated. Thanks for listening. Now go out there and learn that passion is productive.